Pisces, it's good to have you here. Thank you for coming back and trusting in the work we do together. Today, we are going to a meeting guided by clarity and care, with the intention of bringing to the surface what needs light and offering tools to act with serenity. The focus is practical and compassionate. You receive insight as well as actionable steps. This reading is symbolic and intuitive, intended for personal reflection. It is not a substitute for clinical or legal support. If any theme activates you, prioritize your safety and look for a support network. In this session, we will use Lenormand's cards in 4 combinations, a quote from the book The Joy of the Light of the Earth, a channeled message from the colored papers, and at the end, a simple 7-day plan. To organize your experience, each combination will bring 5 points: the objective meaning of the symbols, the central theme, the likely impact for Pisces, 2 practical actions, and a sign of attention when sensitivities are involved. I want to invite you to strengthen the intention of this reading with a mantra that functions as an emotional anchor and active choice of direction. Write in the comments, "I choose the truth that heals." This is the starting point and the thread that supports the next steps. Reaffirming it opens space for the essential to reveal itself without noise. Before proceeding, a small presence adjustment. Place one hand on the chest and the other on the lower abdomen. Inhale for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 6, repeat 3 times. Say mentally, "I am safe. I am here. I receive only what serves my good." If you prefer, close your eyes for a moment and notice your shoulders softening, your jaw loosening, and your feet in contact with the ground. Today's common thread is coherence. Reading suggests that relevant information wants to emerge, and that a learning cycle can be a bridge to the next chapter of your life. We will also see themes related to purification in material matters, the reorganization of loyalties, the end of persistent rumors, and the strengthening of your younger side, which needs care and direction. To keep the pace light, I will organize the passages in clear sections with hooks that prepare the next step. At the end, I leave a weekly itinerary to consolidate the discoveries. If your heart asked for a password for today, it is simple. When the truth arrives, even silence finds order. Let's take the first step. Next, I describe how each combination will be worked and present the emotional map of this reading so that you know what to expect, from the first to the last point. Here is the path we will follow, with clarity and focus. For each combination, you will see objective meaning of the cards, central theme, likely impact for Pisces, 2 practical actions, and a sign of attention if the subject touches on old wounds. To keep the experience organized, at the end of each part, there will be a lightning summary in 1 or 2 sentences to fix the essentials and move forward without excess information. Emotional map of the encounter. Book with revelation, study, and trust in knowledge. Material sub-theme with lilies, bringing financial purification, refinement of processes and opportunities that move when there is order and transparency. Car added to decision, with restructuring of loyalties, rebirths, and limits that protect your time and energy. Latigo, vara, com livro, interrupting patterns of criticism and disinformation, naming wounds and recovering the voice of knowledge. Birds with rider, shutting down rumors, verifying facts, and getting concrete help with evidence or conciliation. Tree with boy, rooting, care for the young side, and reciprocity between your current strength and what is reborn. We unify language for clarity. Book indicates truth and study. Lilies, purity and peace. Car, advancement and functional alliance. Birds, conversations and rumors. Rider, messenger. Tree, roots and strength. Boy, youth and beginnings. The tone will be respectful of your story. On sensitive topics, such as striking criticism, humiliation, or psychological abuse, I will leave a reminder for you to prioritize yourself and seek support if you feel the need. Remember, insight is valuable, but emotional safety is the first commitment. For lightness, a discreet smile. Gossip usually flies, but the truth uses a well-defined route. Now that the trail is mapped out, it's time to get into the first combination with your feet on the ground. Take the mantra of the comments with you. It will come in handy when questions arise. We move on to the book, which points out the way out of the fog and the resumption of confidence in its knowledge. The book represents stored contents, knowledge under construction, research, courses, and secrets ready to be known. When this card appears prominently, it signals that learning paths and useful truths are ready for access. There is an invitation to recognize your ability to understand, organize, and transmit knowledge. Central theme: truth and learning as a repair of intellectual self-value. Recovering the freedom to study without the weight of internal voices that disallowed their intelligence. Probable impact for Pisces: a clear yes to starting or resuming studies, certifications, structured readings, and practices that expand repertoire. Decisive information can also emerge about a confusing situation, unlocking decisions and revealing doors that seemed closed. Practical actions: choose a course, free or paid, and complete registration by Friday. Write 2 questions that you want to see answered by this content, to study with a defined direction. Then, make an inventory of knowledge. List 10 skills you already have and write down, next to them, possible uses at work, in studies, and in personal projects. Sign of attention: if memories linked to criticism, school grades, or painful comparisons arise, give yourself a break. Breathe, drink water, and if necessary, seek a supportive conversation. If the topic touches on deep wounds, therapy or mentoring is a gesture of care. Imagine a bookshelf in the dark. The titles have always been there. What changes now is the light on that reveals what you need. Lightning summary: it is time to learn and clarify. Organized knowledge dispels the fog of misinformation. For fluidity, keep 3 keys: intention, method, and constancy. 15 minutes a day with real presence are worth more than scattered hours. When doubt hits, go back to the mantra and write in the comments, "I choose the truth that heals." The following is a sub-theme that usually emerges after the book: the refinement of practical issues. When knowledge reorganizes, the order wants to reach finance, negotiations, and value communication. Lilies suggest serenity, refinement, and cleanliness of processes. In the material sphere, they indicate that the inner order needs to reach finances and transactions. When there is coherence in the way of communicating, documenting, and negotiating, stuck doors begin to move. It's time to review descriptions, deadlines, and expectations, dissolving the emotional charge that sometimes holds back simple decisions. Deals, sales, exchanges, and deals tend to flow better when you remove unnecessary friction. Transparency, clear language, and careful presentation build trust. Whether you're selling a good or closing a contract, attention to detail makes a visible difference. Central theme: purify to thrive, reducing internal noise and bringing precision to practical steps. Probable impact: economic advancement by aligning attitude and procedure. Its gentle firmness conveys professionalism, attracts buyers and partners, and generates balanced conditions. You feel more in control of your choices, with fewer impulses and regrets. Practical actions: make a list with 3 columns: missing documents, pending conversations, deadlines, and run an item today. Identifying a pattern of hurting words and beliefs implanted by old criticisms weakens the cycle and restores the fluidity of learning, speaking, and deciding. Central theme: the truth that heals replaces corrosive statements with statements that are consistent with who you are today. Naming psychological abuse when it exists takes away the power of shame and returns the axis of the narrative to your hands. Then review ad copy, proposals, and business messages, swap vague adjectives for data, update photos, and align response expectations. Sign of attention: avoid deciding under pressure of urgency created by third parties. Wait 24 hours, reread the terms, and ask for a second opinion. Discreet humor. Confusion does not pay a bill, but clarity usually anticipates good news. Lightning summary. When the shape is cleaned, the content finds its way. This organized terrain prepares more functional relationships with respected limits. With the material area less blurred, you notice who actually walks alongside you and where route adjustments are needed. Now the car finds a decision point. Let's rearrange loyalties with elegance, preserving what is valuable and setting boundaries that sustain its advancement. The car represents coordinated advancement, trust built, and alliances that work. The shortcut appears as a point of choice. Stick to the old route out of habit or adjust the direction to keep up with who you've become. It is not about despising the past, but about recognizing that relationships mature and emotional contracts need to be reviewed with respect. You enter a phase where a friendship, partnership, or supportive bond can change role. Sometimes, a person who has already been a counselor ceases to occupy this position for a completed cycle. In other situations, clearer boundaries restore balance and allow for healthy continuity. Central theme, reorganizing loyalties so that their integrity leads the movement. Loyalty to oneself is the axis that guides the conversation with the other, with honesty and consequence. Likely impact, a sense of rebirth by aligning expectations. With well-defined boundaries, you preserve energy, qualify agreements, and breathe better. The car follows by the consistency of choices, not by haste. Practical actions. Schedule a 20-minute conversation with the key person. Take 3 points written down, something to be thankful for, an objective boundary, and the righteous next step. Then write down 5 boundaries that protect your time and peace. Choose one to practice for 7 days and record how you felt about keeping it. Sign of attention. If there are signs of disloyalty, avoid conclusions based on rumors. Collect facts. Define what is yours. And, if necessary, ask for mediation. Think about this picture. When we change gears, the vehicle responds to the new speed. Relationships also have marches. Lightning summary. Rehiring loyalties preserves bonds and restores direction. True to yourself, you create space for relationships that keep up with your current pace. With the car adjusted, it's easier to see where external noises have distorted perceptions. The next step calls for a cleansing of repetitive narratives that hurt and confuse. It's time to cut patterns that sabotage your voice and reopen the path of knowledge. Latigo and Vara signal repetitions of conflicts, excessive demands, and tension that wears out. Alongside the book, it is evident that part of this wear and tear came from harsh messages and manipulations treated as truths. The result is often a block in expression and study, as if the mind freezes when trying to move forward. Likely impact. Clarity about the origin of the blockade and relief when realizing that the lock was defense, not inability. With this, studying becomes possible and even pleasurable. Communication becomes more precise. Decisions are now based on facts. Practical actions. Write the "it's not mine" list with 10 negative phrases you've heard and rewrite each one with your current truth. Read it aloud. Schedule a support session this week with a therapist or mentor, preparing 3 topics: the identified pattern, the recurring emotion, and the short-term goal. Sign of attention. If memories activate intense pain, pause. Emotional security comes first. Stay away from environments that repeat attacks and look for reliable support channels. Synthesis image. When a recording is full of hiss, the music is barely heard. When reducing the noise, the melody appears. Subtle humor. Chatter can be loud. Coherence acts as noise cancellation. Lightning summary. Interrupt the cycle of the word that hurts and recover study as an expression of its value. With the noise mapped and your word back, the chance of useful information coming from the outside grows. With data and goodwill to end gossip, this help finds you more centered and able to distinguish fact from opinion. Now the duo Passaros and Ginete enters the scene, bringing news that clarifies and the opportunity to put an end to rumors with documentation and calm. Birds point to fast-paced conversations, anxiety, and contradictory versions. Jinete brings agile news, someone who appears with useful information or willing to help bring order. Together, these letters indicate that relevant messages arrive at the right time to separate fact from opinion and shut down stories that have stretched beyond reason. Posture makes a difference, less reaction, more method. You may receive contact from a person outside the immediate circle, possibly from another city or with an independent perspective, offering data, documents, or a lucid reading. This allows for reconciliations, agreements, or a respectful closure of noisy cycles. Central theme, transforming noise into record. What was previously said in a high tone now meets the objectivity of notes, evidence, and deadlines. Probable impact. Relief to realize that it is not necessary to spend energy proving the obvious. The information arrives, you organize it, and what was confusion gives way to serene decisions. Practical actions. Document. Gather messages, emails, prints, write down dates and interlocutors. Put together a simple timeline with event, date, and evidence. Do a noise detox for 7 days. Silence 2 groups or profiles that fuel anxiety. Limit impulsive responses and only return messages after 2 slow breaths. Sign of attention. Avoid confrontations in public. Prefer private conversations with a defined agenda and time. If the other party is reactive, propose postponing. Brief picture. Adjusting the dial doesn't create the music, it just tunes the frequency. Subtle humor. Rumor can be fast. Even so, the check arrives at the address with a receipt. Lightning summary. Help arrives with data and goodwill. You end the noise with record and calmness. With this, the mind breathes and the heart finds space for more effective dimensions of care. It is time to nurture what is new without abandoning the maturity gained. Rootedness finds its beginning, and its strength supports the young side that asks for attention. The tree symbolizes patient growth, firm roots, and deep health. The boy refers to beginnings, curiosity, children, and the young part of his psyche that needs guidance and protection. Together, they indicate that the period of recollection yielded discrete strength, ready to nurture a new cycle with innocence, guided by maturity. Internal consolidation underpins recent initiatives. It can involve relationships with children, nephews, students, or a project that you treat as a child. It requires presence, routine, and kindness with mistakes. This care strengthens the new and also heals you from within. Central theme, reciprocity of care. What you offered to your own heart during difficult phases returns as the ability to support someone who is going through confusion. By supporting, you don't get lost, confirms who he has become. Probable impact, resumption of talents and dreams that were kept, opening for a sweeter dialogue with one's own history and, in some cases, reconnecting with a child or adolescent in the family who benefits from their stability. Practical actions. Write a 10-line letter to yourself at age 12 and read it aloud. Dedicate 30 minutes of full presence to a child or project without a cell phone and write down a small perceived victory. Sign of attention. Avoid idealizing the past or blaming yourself for what was not possible. Honor the truth of your resources at the time. If intense emotions arise, return to the breath you started with, and, if necessary, seek support. Synthesis image. Roots do not appear in the photo, but they feed the fruit. Light humor. Every beginning stumbles a little. The important thing is not to laugh at yourself with contempt, but with tenderness. Lightning summary. Its silent force nourishes what is born. By taking care of the young side, you confirm the maturity you have built. With the effective terrain stabilized, the text opens up to messages that touch the soul in a more poetic and direct way. Wisdom takes the form of an inspiring word, inviting the liberation of fatigue and the practice of humility that magnifies. Message of the book. There is a tiredness that is not weakness. It is a sign of how much you have sustained. Allow the tears to clear inner pathways. They do not diminish their strength, reveal the truth of what had to be contained. When the emotion flows, the heart returns to point north with simplicity. Breathe. If so, let a tear come without rushing. Say, I recognize my effort, and let myself be guided by signs that promote peace. The body understands this language. Shoulders go down, jaw softens, the mind becomes quieter, and courage ceases to be an effort to become a consequence. Brief channeling. The one who screams often protects an old wound. Whoever cries knows the tide of his own chest. The greatness that accompanies you does not impose itself. It flourishes when humility makes room. Walk steadily, without haste. Truth does not compete. It asserts itself by coherence, day after day. Emotional integration. Observe for 90 seconds what happens inside, without judging. If a harsh thought appears, respond with a simple sentence. Now I choose caution. Emotional call to action. Write a line in your notebook. Today, I allow myself to know my truth without fear, and sign the date. Bond with the mantra. In the comments, reaffirm the password we opened together. I choose the truth that heals. The more we repeat healthy choices, the easier the path gets under our feet. Tender mood. Teardrop is like the heart's wireless network. When it drops, the connection improves. Lightning summary. Validate tiredness, allow release, and honor the humility that magnifies your presence. With built-in emotion and a more orderly mind, you're ready to turn clarity into simple, applicable, and sustainable steps. Here, inspiration meets practice, ending with actions that maintain the axis and consolidate progress. Now that emotional clarity and facts are in place, let's turn understanding into simple steps. This 7-day plan is designed to fit into your routine, creating consistency without overwhelm. One focus per day, one concrete action, and one reminder that keeps you going. Day 1, breathing and free writing. Ask yourself, what truth do I want to come to light now? Write for 10 minutes without editing. Underline 3 sentences that speak to you the most. Reminder, sincerity with yourself is present, not judgment. Day 2, necessary conversation. Choose a person or theme that needs definition. Sketch 3 objective points and schedule a time. Reminder, root adjustment is care, not conflict. Day 3, finances in order. Look at a pending contract, sale, or payment. Post an announcement, revise a document, or submit a proposal with clear deadlines. Reminder, hard data relieves anxiety. Day 4, study with direction. Enroll in a course or attend an introductory class. Write down 2 questions you want to answer at the end. Reminder, constancy overcomes perfectionism. Day 5, noise detox. Mute 2 groups, limit network time, and respond to messages after 2 slow breaths. Reminder, between stimulus and response, there is a space for choice. Day 6, body and root. Walk for 10 to 20 minutes, feet firmly on the ground. Observe 3 signs of nature and name them in a low voice. Reminder, the body is an ally in the organization of the mind. Day 7, inner child and liberation. Write a 10-line letter to yourself at the age of 12, and if you wish, do a small ritual with water or a candle to symbolize the restart. Reminder, kindness to yourself sustains any change. Compassionate closure. Recognize your progress, no matter how small it may seem. If a topic brought up difficult memories, seek qualified support and stay close to people who respect your rhythm. Taking care of oneself is not backwardness, it is foundation. Soft invitation. If this content touched you, leave your comment with the password we opened together. I choose the truth that heals, and share a micro-victory of your 7-day plan. Liking and subscribing helps the message reach those who need it. When truth finds a place, silence is organized and life responds in order. Thank you for being here, Pisces. We continue with lightness, feet on the ground, and an attentive heart.